Good people. You're now tuned in. OG Sonny Blanco, I got a story to tell you, eh? Today, the 5th installment of the series Labels, featuring some of your most iconic and prolific engineers and designers of our time. In today's installment, we'll be introducing you to Willie Smith, Miss Elizabeth Keckley, and no other than Jaxson. Good people, I hope you enjoy. Good work over here, you heard? Tell a friend to tell a friend. Let's get into it. First on the list, Willie Smith. Born Willie Darnell Smith, February 29th, 1948 in Philadelphia, PA. Now, good people, it's another famous Willie. It's another Willie Smith out of Philly. I don't know if those two cats are related, but it's very ironic, right? Listen, Willie, at the time of his death in April 17th, 1987, he was regarded as one of the most successful African-American designers in the fashion industry. Willie was born to Willie Lee Smith, an iron worker, and Junie Elaine Smith, a homemaker, both of whom were very fashion conscious. Like his peoples, they was up on a diddy bop, they was up on a 1-2, they always stayed fly, right? As a young boy, Willie spent hours sketching on the floor of his home. Also, at the Philadelphia Museum College of Art. He was encouraged by his mother as she noticed her son's talent. She used to tell him, "You was born to be an artist or a designer." After his parents' divorce, he went with his grandmother Gladys Bush, who nurtured and motivated Willie to pursue his dreams. Willie studied commercial art at the Mastbawn Technical High School and attended Philadelphia Museum College of Art, taking a course in fashion illustration. He moved to New York City to go to Parsons, the new school for design, which it was dubbed at the time. They was like, yo, Parsons, you want that new shit? You gotta go to Parsons. You wanna learn how to do the new sketches and the latest of all that? You gotta go to Parsons. They called it the new school of fashion, right? Willie's grandmother was a housekeeper for an influential family who's best friends with Arnold Soxie. Now, Arnold, that's a different dude. Arnold Soxie. If you look at Soxie, it's actually Isaac spelled backwards. His name was Arnold Isaac, who was a fashion designer from Canada, right? His grandmother helped him get an internship with Soxie in 1965. One of his mentors was the designer Arthur McGee. In 1967, Willie left Parsons and stepped out on his own. He sought out inspiration from what he saw people wearing in the streets of New York. From 1969 to 1973, hey yo, 73, that's a good year right there. That's the year your boy popped out, you heard? But anyway, from 1969 to 73, Willie worked as lead designer for the junior sportswear label Digits. There he met future business partner and lifelong friend, Lori Mallet. In 1972, for his work as head designer at Digits, he was nominated for the Coty American Fashion Critics Award. In 1973, good old Willie was nominated a second time for the Coty Award and began designing patterns for the commercial patterning company Butterick. 73 was a good year, right? Told you, was a good year for Willie, but not so much for Digits. To show you how valuable Willie was, when he left Digits in 73, it began the downfall for them. Digits soon went bankrupt. In 1974, Willie partnered with his sister, Tookie Smith, and a close friend, Harrison Rivera Teru, to form his own label, Willie Smith Designs Incorporated. Unfamiliar at the time with the aspects of running a business, the company struggled and closed a few months later. Good old Willie though, Willie didn't give up. He continued to design. In 1976, he traveled with Loria to Bombay, India to produce a small collection of women's fashion in natural fibers. The collection was a success, and soon after, he founded Willi Wear Ltd. with Lori as president. He took the title vice president and lead designer. Willi Wear was a massive success, providing chic, elegant, stylish clothing for the modern woman at an affordable price and natural fibers. In 1982, Willie started his first Willi Wear men's collection with Stuart Lazar as executive vice president. Willie also hired Mark Bozek as head of communications for Willi Wear that same year. After being nominated 4 times, on his 5th nomination, Willie finally received the Cody Award. Shout out Willie Smith, one of Philadelphia's hidden jewels, one of fashion's biggest inspirations. Salute, Willie Smith. Good people, next on the list, let me introduce you to Mrs. Elizabeth Keckley. Now you see this woman right here, this amazing woman right here. Her story is a little bizarre. I must give you fair warning, good people. But if you think about it, it was actually the norm back then. But let's get into the story. You see, Liz was born in February 1818 in Denwiddle, Virginia. Liz was born a slave to her father, who was also her owner, a Mr. Armistead Burwell. Now you watch this old fart. You see, Burwell, when he kicked the bucket, before he kicked the bucket in his will, he left his other daughter, a Mrs. Ann Burwell Garland, the owner of Liz. Now what type of Michael Jackson off the wall peanut butter and jelly madness is this, right? I told you the story was bizarre, but wait, it's more. You see, the Garlands just had a newborn infant, right? So at the tender age of 4, good old Liz became a nursemaid for an infant. So now you telling me you got babies raising babies, right? I mean, Liz was abused in all sorts of ways. Whatever you could imagine that could have happened to Liz back in those days and times, it probably happened to Liz. And the sad thing about it was her family members. It was her own bloodline. It was her brothers, her sisters, right? But they didn't look at Liz as family. They looked at Liz as property, right? So now, as Liz gets up in age, she begins to sew. She actually becomes a great seamstress, right? So the Garland family starts getting orders from everyone in the town, right? Taking orders, but they didn't know. You see, Liz, she was nobody's fool. Liz was taking orders on the low as well and tucking her little change, right? She was getting to the bag. So let me tell you what Liz does. In November of 1855 in St. Louis, Missouri, good old Liz got to the bag and saved the money up, right? She purchased herself, and not only herself, her son, whose name was George Kirtland. She purchased the 2 of them's freedom and left, right? In the 1860s, she moved to Washington, D.C., right? She quickly got to work establishing a dressmaking shop with a staff of 20 people, right? Her clients were the wives of elite politicians, including Verena Davis, the wife of Jefferson Davis, and Mary Anna Curtis Lee, the wife of General Robert E. Lee, right? Amazing. Now watch mine. I guess back then even the slogan was, if you only got one way to get to $1, then listen, you ain't getting to no dollar, right? So watch how Liz flips it. After the Civil War, she wrote and published an autobiography, which was titled Behind the Scenes, but was better known as 13 Years a Slave and 4 Years in the White House. It was both a slave narrative and a portrait of the first family, especially Mary Todd Lincoln, who was the wife of good old Abraham Lincoln, right? Right. Now you see Liz met Mary Todd Lincoln on March the 4th, 1861, the very day of Abraham Lincoln's first inauguration. She had an interview the following day with Mary Todd, and Mary Todd chose Liz as the personal dresser for the White House. Right? Liz made clothing in a simplified style of Victorian fashion, which was sophisticated with clean lines and without a lot of ribbons or lace. The previous dressmaker for Mary Todd used floral patterns, bright colors, and a youthful design. Liz's dresses were more elegant and sophisticated. In 1892, Liz was offered a faculty position at Wilberforce University. Now watch this. You see Wilberforce University? That's the same university that she enrolled her son George into years previous, right? So she took the job. She took the job as the head of Department of Sewing and Cosmetic Arts. Liz Keckley, better known as Elizabeth Keckley, an amazing woman. Salute. Last but not least, good people, J. Jaxson. Born Eugene Jackson, August the 30th, 1941 in Queens, New York. The youngest of four, Jay was born to Sidney Jackson, who was a truck driver for the Long Island Railroad, and mother Ethel Rena Jackson, who was a housewife. Now at this time, the household was very traditional and very strict. Out of all the Jackson's four kids, Jay was the most outspoken. He had no problem voicing his opinion at a time when kids did what they were told, point blank, period. At some time in his young life, I guess to Jay being so outspoken, he was sent to live with a family member. There, Jay caught the fashion bug. The family member often made clothing from home using fabrics and patterns from bustling Jamaica Ave. There, he learned the foundation of designs and seamstress. Jay earned a bachelor's degree from Hunter College in Manhattan. He attended New York University School of Law for about a year with the intentions of becoming a lawyer. But the call of fashion from a childhood, the call of fashion was too strong, and instead he enrolled into the Fashion Institute of Technology. He graduated from FIT in 1966. By then, he had already started to sell his designs at stores like Henry Bendel and Bonwit Taylor. But Jay was reaching for bigger and better, and this led him to Paris. Word, good old Paris. Paris at this time was the epicenter of fashion. By the end of the decade, Jay moved to Paris and quickly found work as a designer. Before long, he became noticed for his adaptability, easily translating his designs for different labels, as well as meeting the tastes of independent customers. While in Paris, Jay designed for designers like Yves Saint Laurent, Marc Bohan, and Christian Dior. By the mid-70s, he returned home to NYC and started his own brand. He focused on the elevated sportswear, like trim-collared jackets and polished pleated trousers, which he also designed the same scale for Pierre Cardin. But Jay was seeking fame, and his name wasn't ringing bells like he wanted to. They weren't ringing as loud as he wanted to, right? So in the mid-80s, he moved to LA. The suggestion of Lester Wilson, a friend who he known since childhood. This is when Jay's name began to ring bells. I mean, his name is just ringing bells like the St. Mark's Cathedral and all of that, right? He started to design for big names, such as the Ally McBeal Show, American Dreams, also the movie Mr. and Mrs. Smith. You already know, with Brad and Angela and all of that, the fly little tuxes and gowns they had on. Yeah, Jay did all of that. One of his biggest ringers was the singer Annie Lennox from the 80s band The Eurythmics. Grammy Award winning show, she wore one of Jay's fits, you dig? As well as the 25th Motown anniversary. The dancers, they was rocking Jay's designs, you dig? He also designed for the singer Thelma Houston. Thelma once said, Jay had the ability and the creativity, and along with the sense of refinement and elegance to work on any level that he wanted. A fashion icon, Jay Jaxson, salute. Good people, I hope you enjoyed. Once again, good work over here. Do me a favor, share, like, and subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend. OG Sonny Blanco, I got a story to tell, you heard?